Let's bring in our panel now. Joining me is former Labor councillor Linda Scott and One Nation Chief of Staff James Ashby. Hi to both of you. Good to see you. Thanks for joining me on the show. Look, I want to start with this apology tour of sorts by Liberal MPs who are lining up to say sorry to the Indian community on behalf of Senator Jacinta Nampijinpa-Price. Now, James, as I said earlier, I do agree that her comments were wrong in singling out one group over any others, but we've got a migration problem in this country. It's not racist to talk about. But what do you make of this conga line of Liberals who are now falling over themselves to say sorry?
Well, England's talking about it. Germany's talking about immigration issues. Much of Europe is talking about it. America has been dealing with the immigration and illegal immigrants that are in their country. Why shouldn't Australia have this discussion? I think Jacinta's right to be able to raise these issues. I think you're right. I think she's hit a stumbling block there with some of the language, which was probably a bit sloppy. But it says to me that she's hit a raw nerve. The Liberal Party are afraid to go down this path about talking about immigration. You know, for me, it's history repeating itself. Labor have had a huge influx of migrants when they've been in power for a very long time. If you have a look at Barry Jones's comments in 1997, he came out and articulated just perfectly that Labor do bring in migrants from particular countries that they know have a sympathy for the political party who allowed them into the country. Call it loyalty, call it payback, whatever it might be, come the election cycle. And Cos Samaras has nailed this in recent weeks, where he said that the Indian community, rightly or wrongly, have a tendency to support Labor, and we're talking figures around 80 to 85%. That can't be ignored. You have to ask the question why, and if it does come down to a loyalty question, I think it's important that Jacinta and others like Pauline Hanson and Malcolm Roberts and the whole One Nation team have been asking this question. Why is it that Labor are bringing in people from particular countries? Is it for the vote? Well, the answer is clearly yes. And right now, I think that we're well and truly onto it. It is time for a discussion. The Australian people are certainly talking about this when they're at home. They're talking about it in some of their workplaces. Yeah. And look, it is a bit messy for Jacinta, but she's right to be able to raise it.
She is right to be able to raise it. We saw, you know, tens of thousands of everyday Aussies, mums and dads, go to those marches for Australia a few weeks ago, only to be told that they were racist by a number of politicians. And this is the problem with this argument. It's not racist. You're not xenophobic to bring it up. But Linda, we do need to have a debate on migration in this country. The reality is that Labor have brought in more than 1.1 million people since it was elected to office, yet it just seems like it doesn't want to have this debate. It has politicised the issue.
Well, look, unlike One Nation, when I knock on somebody's door, I don't judge how they're going to vote by the colour of their skin, and I think that's the right judgment to make. And the Liberal Party don't know where they stand on this issue. On the one hand, of course, we do have Senator Nampijinpa-Price making offensive comments, which she herself has acknowledged, and then her leader, Susan Lee, not asking her to apologise, indeed not even calling her about this personally. Of course, as you've said, we've got Alex Hawke coming out and insisting that the senator apologise, and today we've now seen a big group of the New South Wales Liberal Party standing there personally apologising on behalf of the Liberal Party, even though they've got their own leadership tussle going on here. So it's hard to say what the Liberal Party think about this or indeed where they stand. I mean, the fact is,
I agree, but
in Australia, in 2025,
I agree
we are
with you, Linda.
A multicultural nation,
agree that
and
the Liberal Party don't know what they stand for. I do agree with you. The Liberal Party do not know what they stand for on this issue. I totally agree. But why is it that both sides of politics, Linda, are so scared to have this debate?
Yeah, because they've both been responsible for it, and they pick and choose certain people to come into a country that suits them at the same time. You know, I acknowledge that Peter Dutton
James, you just can't judge people and how they're going to vote by their skin colour.
It's offensive. That he was happy to bring people in that had Christian, Judeo-Christian backgrounds, and I acknowledge that. So, look, Liberal and Labor have both done it, and it's some of your leadership team, Linda, that have admitted this. We're just seeing history repeat itself. And I'm sorry, you've been caught out on it. The Australian people are well aware of it. We are seeing a shift now where now more than 30% of the Australian population were born in another country. They may call Australia home, but we're seeing a mass influx of migration, and we're seeing the fallout from this.
Isn't that fantastic?
It can't be denied.
What a wonderful thing about our nation that so many people choose Australia as the best country in the world to come and live. I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud of how fantastic Australia is, that we've got people from all over the world wanting to move here, raise their families here and get jobs here. I think that's magnificent. And each night of the week, as I sit around the dinner table with my family eating food from all over the world, my kids go to school mixing with families from all over the world, my family's made up of migrants. I think that's a wonderful thing for Australia and humanity, and we're better off for it.
Look, I don't think the problem is that this is not a discussion about we are a multicultural society. We always have been a multicultural society, and I agree with you, Linda. We live in the best country in the world, but the conversation now has to shift to we've allowed too many people into this country. We can't get everyday Aussies into homes. There is a housing crisis. There's a cost of living crisis. It is not racist to say we need to cap migration and lower migration, but like we saw, as I said, with the marches the other week, it's always going to this racism call, which is absolutely wrong, because I know plenty of you at home went to these marches and you're just as worried